If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
DJ, PK, and Steve Cleveland joins us once again. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, fellas.
And it is a good morning for Jazz fans. A number 2 pick. Can you believe it? They finally moved up.
Yes, that is exciting, and I think everybody in Utah is probably pretty happy about that. So hopefully that turns into being something that can be pretty special. So I'm not sure we're going to talk a little bit more about the draft.
You have to get this right from the Jazz perspective. Austin Ainge is in charge. You know him well. You recruited him. He's got to get it right. And I think that, as I relate it to your situation, when you came into Provo, there were certain guys you had to get, right? You had to get McKelly Wesley. You had to get Mark Bigelow. You had to get Lee Camard. And you did get those guys, right? And they were foundation pieces to building a program and getting it back to where you wanted and everybody wanted it to be. When it's something that you have to get it right and you're trying to analyze and get all the information with people that you need to talk to and all that, how do you go about that from like Austin Ainge's perspective to make sure that they get the very best player that they can get into this town and be a part of this franchise going forward?
Well, you said it. I think first and foremost, just getting that pick is huge. And now, taking your time, not being in a hurry. And I don't know exactly how this is going to play out in my mind. I mean, obviously, we're going to get a really good player here. But, are there going to be trades involved? Are there going to be, what are the circumstances that we're looking at here going forward? But you do have to get it right. And Austin has been prepared for this for a long time. 20-plus years in Boston, and here he is now with the Jazz. And obviously Danny's been involved with this for a long time. So I have a great deal of confidence. These are guys that have been doing this for a long time. And I'm quite confident that this will be a real positive step forward. And we've got great people making those decisions.
I heard this story about Steve Fisher once, that he was a San Diego State and Michigan, basketball coach. So he was this great guy, and he knew the name of everybody worked in the front office of whatever school, whatever receptionist, secretary, whoever was right there. He knew them all by name. He's such a good guy. And I thought, well, yeah, he's pumping them all for information on kids. And I wonder if you could explain to us, maybe he is a great guy, but he was still pumping them for information on kids. And I wonder if you could explain to us, when you're doing background on a player, to find out who they are as a person. And if the Jazz are drafting somebody for the next 7, 10, 12 years, that's going to be really important. How many people do you talk to? Where do you go? Over time, where did you find great information in unusual places talking to people? Because obviously the Jazz have to do a deep dive on several guys now.
That's true. I think in my experiences in recruiting, and whether it's the NBA or college basketball, I think the way I approached it first and foremost was getting into the home of a player or a recruit, and getting to know the parents, getting to know the coaches, the high school coaches, the junior college coaches, whoever it might be involved. But I think for me, it was making sure that they felt comfortable with me and I felt comfortable with them. And I think that when I look at college, the college players that we were recruiting, we did get into the home. We did go and meet with the high school coach, the junior college coach. We took the time to kind of become part of their family. And I think having a family-oriented approach to this is where we found our success, because you have the statistics, how they've played and how they've performed, but long-term success in recruiting, whether it's in college or the NBA, really comes down to family. It comes down to people that you trust and that they trust you and you trust them. And then the one thing that we do have here with Austin and Danny in the past, that we have a relationship here with this state. And it's so important that people understand and players understand the importance of family, the importance of having I guess the best word is just a trust. And when I was recruiting and I went into homes, I wanted them to trust me. I wanted them to know that we're going to do what's best for the young man in our program, but we're going to do what's best for him going forward. And when you have that trust and you have that family atmosphere, you are more confident. You're more confident. And I think when I went into homes and I talked to players and I talked to their parents and I talked to their coaches and had that relationship, I felt more confident in hopefully getting that individual to be a part of our program, but also to know that this is more than just basketball. This is about really having relationships. And everything that I did and have done in life, not just in coaching, but in life, that the successes that we have found, and I'm sure this is true for you guys, when you've been successful, it's because you have those relationships. And so for me, you're right. Going forward here, there's a lot going on, but to have the opportunity right now to develop that relationship, to put yourself in a position where there's a trust and getting the very best player that you can get, that's the foundation to moving forward and continuing to not only drafting but developing relationships and going forward with coaches and coaching staffs.
Obviously, A.J. DeMonts is right there to be had. I think the Jazz, if they want him, they can get him. They can make enough moves. A.J. could float around to the Washington people that, hey, I really want to be in Utah, which would be quite a surprise given all the stuff that we've heard about Utah. But nevertheless, he's here and he's been comfortable here and his parents and all that. And that'd be great. The knock on him is that, he's not a great distance shooter, right? He's not a great perimeter three-point shooter. Now, he's only 19 years old, so I'm not going to put a limit on him. From your perspective, he's got everything that he needs to do to be successful. If he can improve his outside shot, wow, he'd really be quite the bundle and difficult to handle. How do you get better at shooting? I think that's the bottom line that he needs to do to work on that. He needs to work on everything, but if he can improve himself and get to like 35% as a three-point shooter, he's really got something. So how do you do that?
I think, first of all, he has a skill set to start with that is really unique. And we've all watched him play, and I've watched him practice. And I think the first thing that just kind of jumps out at me is his ability to get into the paint and get into areas that he can take mid-range shots. There's a lot, there's a lot of pro players that don't shoot mid-range shots, and they're not comfortable with that. Well, AJ already has solidified the fact that he can get into the key, he can get into the baseline, he can take those shots that are difficult he has the ability to put himself in positions because of his explosiveness and because of his great shooting ability in the mid-range. I think that a lot of guys struggle with that, and it's just a three. And whereas there's lots of different ways to score. So let's go back to that now. I think he is an accomplished shooter. He's an accomplished scorer. Where is he at in terms of three-point shooting? Well, number one, it's a different college is different than the NBA, and those adjustments will have to be made. But there is nothing in my soul that tells me that he can't be a good three-point shooter. And he already has so many different ways to attack the rim and attack the defenders, that he's as good as anybody that I've seen coming out of college, to be honest with you. I mean, he's just really talented that way. Does he become a better three-point shooter over time? Absolutely. I mean, that's what they do for a living full time. So I have complete confidence that AJ will be able to take his game to the next level and be able to stretch defenses. And once they stretch those defenses with his ability to shoot three, it makes him that much better. So I just believe that the time will be spent. There's going to be a lot of help and support. And if we can get AJ here in Utah, and it'll just change the environment of this community. And I'm confident in him. I'm confident that he can become a good three-point shooter. But you're right, it takes a lot of time. You got to spend time. He'll have coaches. He'll have support groups. He'll have everything he needs to continue to improve that three-point shooting. But there's nothing in me that says that he won't be a good or a great three-point shooter. I just believe that will happen over time, and that just makes him that much more dangerous and challenging to guard.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope, she bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Darren Peterson came out over the weekend and said that creatine caused cramping. That's why he missed so many games. When you heard that, did that have the ring of authenticity? You doubt that story? How did that sit with you when you heard it?
That is a difficult one for being authentic and what's going on. And, the fact that there were multiple games that he didn't play. And I have no idea what was going on there, so I'm not casting any judgment on the young man, but it was just odd that there were times when he just didn't show up or he just didn't play, and so yes, is he a talent? Absolutely. Can he become an NBA superstar? Yes. Answer to all of this, because he is skilled, but I think one is he's got to get his body and he's got to get that strength that he needs to become a better player, but yeah, the creatine and all of that, wherever he ends up going, I'm sure that the staffs and whatever organization is going to handle this young man, I think those things will be addressed. He is a talent, and I would hope that we'll see some growth and some development. It's going to be a full-time job for him. Those things do make you a little bit nervous, but there's a lot of money invested in these young men, and I'm not down on him. I was disappointed at times during the season that he didn't really have a complete commitment to what was happening. I'm sure that whatever program and whatever organization drafts him and gets him involved, I think they'll address those things. He is a talent. And he'll have to grow and develop, but I wouldn't give up on that young man. He's got too many skills, he's got too much size, too much length to not be a really good pro.
What's the number one thing you look for in talent?
Let me think about that for a moment. I think the thing that jumps out at me, number one, with talent, is that as you're recruiting talent or as you're coaching talent, that there is, I'll go back to relationships and the importance of becoming a better player and becoming a more consistent player. And that was some of the things that troubled me watching him with being consistent. But I think with most young people and the people that I've coached, first and foremost was relationships. Second was making sure that day in and day out, that they were working on getting better and putting themselves in a position where they could be difference makers. And so I don't know that I have a perfect answer for that, but I will just say this, that the talent's there. I think the desire and the grit and the heart about it will develop over time, and he'll be a pretty special player.
So when Austin tells you what they're going to do, you tell us, and then we'll just all keep it on the down low, okay?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now. I saw Danny the other day. In fact, I was over at Riverside, and I chatted with them just for a minute, and they all seem to be in quite good spirits. And we will have opportunities to talk to Austin and kind of see where things are. I'm hoping to get up there sooner than later. And just kind of right now, it's kind of a crazy busy time. But that is a group of an organization right now that is pretty excited about the future.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I had it turns out, I would say the privilege at the time it was the opportunity. I knew Austin was going to be a basketball lifer one way or the other. I mean, I could tell right from his freshman year. I was the beat writer, as you know, during his entire time there. And there's a lot of dead time after games and before games or in the locker rooms and airports and whatnot. And so we'd talk basketball. And he would question what you would do to me, or me he would question, well, what do you think? He did this, he did that, So he approached the game from an analytical mindset, a strategic mindset, but he just had the ability to really judge talent, I thought, because we would talk about it. So you talk about how you have confidence in him. I totally have confidence in him because I believe that he just has the mindset to develop talent and something that it's a skill, but I can't really define it. And so that's why I have this confidence. And I'm wondering, as you dealt with him, what gave you that level of confidence that you have, like I do, like we both do, that they're going to make the right call?
Well, I've said this before, and I think that, coaching young men, every player wants to play. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's nobody that doesn't want to play and doesn't feel like they should be playing more. That's just the nature of it. And coaches have to make decisions, and players, you develop relationships, and it's always difficult when maybe you'd like to be playing more minutes or doing this more, or whatever the circumstances were. The one thing with Austin was that we had many conversations, and listen, what good player, great players don't want to play.
Yeah.
And there weren't as many opportunities for him in that situation and circumstance. It didn't mean that he couldn't play. He was. You don't become part of a collegiate basketball team without having skills and sets and all the things that you're capable of doing. But the one thing about Austin is that he just looked at the game differently than most 18, 19, 20-year-old guys. And he was thinking way beyond what was just happening at BYU.
Right.
And I think you guys have both seen that. And that's what I saw in him. And obviously he's 20 years in Boston. He's now here with the Jazz. And the door's wide open to do special things. And we'll see how it plays out. But I have absolute confidence in him and in his mindset, his ability to organize, his ability to bring people together, all the things that are necessary to develop a culture and develop an organization long term that can create something really special here in Utah. So I would never, ever second guess him. And I haven't had a chance to get to him and spend time with him. He's so busy in doing things. But as a player, he's skilled, but even more so as a coach, just understood the game and understood the value of togetherness and unity and getting together and finding the best and making the best and the most out of players. And so he's in the right spot. I can't wait to see him and where he takes this program and what happens. And I do look forward to getting together with him at some point in time as things settle down. But I love him. I love his family, and this is their community, and this is their opportunity to make something really special happen here. It's not going to be easy, but he's the guy qualified to do it.
Steve, we appreciate it. As always, thanks for joining us. And as you take a deep dive on all these top players in this draft, we'll talk to you again going forward.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks. Have a good one.
All right, there's Steve Cleveland, former BYU basketball coach. 6 weeks of breaking this down, PK. You ready?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man.
This is what we've been waiting for.
We had 6 weeks, and we got through 4 years of crap.
I know.
This is the most exciting time in a long time.
I did see people saying this is a dream come true for DJ and PK. I'm like, well, a deep playoff run would be better, but, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
this is
stories.
fun.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Obviously, this is no question about it. I was pulling for them to get number 1, but if you would have told me going into it they got number 2, I would have said, absolutely, I'll take it. I probably would have said that at 3.
Yes, I totally agree.
But 2 is right there. Everything you want is available to you from the management perspective. Everything. Whatever they want to do, they can do it. And you've got guys, DA sitting over there, and he's just like, yeah, okay, I got this. This is my wheelhouse. This is my specialty. And you got other guys, Jay-Z, who's been there for a long time. You got Austin, who's been there in the business, and he was doing it. Yeah, Steve knew that Austin said to me about Steve that wasn't the most complimentary.
Austin wanted to run the show even then.
But he did. He just had that mind about him. That's why when I saw him, I'd go to the airport and he'd be sitting over there. I'd go sit by him because I always enjoyed talking to him about basketball.
Always ready to talk basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was what he was about.
And for those of you who are wondering, well, 6 weeks to study 4 players, guaranteed Austin's studying more than 4 players. Guaranteed. Well, doesn't mean he's going to do anything else, but that was when he came to Utah. That was the first thing. It was short before the draft. It says we were preparing for everything in Boston because this is the time you get access to people and you need info in case they're a free agent or they become available in a trade. You got to do your homework now on everybody because you don't know what's coming in 2, 3, 4 years. Mm-hmm. So they're going to take a deep dive. We'll spend most of our time talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. They'll be diving in on all these other guys. If the whole league thinks there's like 10 or 11 really good players at the top of this draft, they're all going to be doing homework on 10 or 11 players.
This was the purpose of the rebuild 4 years ago.
Right.
To get to this point.
To get these 2 opportunities.
And they got
the first 2 opportunities, okay. You're drafting 8, 9, 10, whatever. But you start drafting 2, 3, 4, 5, obviously 2 and 5 these last 2 years.
Well,
it's go time.
They got the player who was recognized as the 3rd best talent, and just with enormous athletic ability. He needs I'm speaking of Ace, obviously, and he needs to harness it and go from there. And one of the things he said in the exit interview was get in the gym, and that's what I want to hear. Get in the gym, man. Get in that's where it's all. That's the lab. And that's what this is, as Steve said, this is their living now, and they need to put as much time as possible. Go look at Kobe Bryant videos where he talked about if I started at 4 a.m, that gave me an opportunity to outwork every single one of my competitors, because if they got in, forget this 6 and 7 thing. Kobe was there at 4, and he had a routine that allowed him to work out 3 times a day. That's what I want to hear from these guys, because that's what it's about. That's the only way you're going to be able to achieve your potential, whatever it might be. And for guys like Ace Bailey and the kid that they end up taking in the draft, that potential is extremely high.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tossed top.